What musician canceled their performance at the Kennedy Center? A musician? Are they like a nobody? Your decision to withdraw at the last moment explicitly in response to the center's recent renaming, which honors President Trump's extraordinary efforts to save this national treasure, is a classic intolerance and very costly to a nonprofit arts institution, the venue's president Richard Grinnell wrote in a letter to musician Chuck Red that was shared with the Associated Press. In the letter, Grinnell said he would seek $1 million in damages for this political stunt. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. They're all like this, man. An entire fucking presidential administration of Karens. Absolutely everything is responded to with litigation. That's an expensive ego. They might be overcompensating because Trump is probably steamed. His hosting, the president's hosting of the Kennedy Center show, the Center Honors, got really, really, really low ratings. That was just a couple days ago. In 2024, it got 4.1 million viewers. In this, it got a third less. Like actually an astonishing drop in a single year. Crazy reduction in viewership. So it's possible Trump's feeling sore about it, you know? I really hope that Trump lives long enough to see his name stripped from the building. I want him to live long enough to see every desperate, pathetic, old rich man effort to stay immortal by stamping your name on everything. I want him to stay alive just long enough to see all of it get torn down and melted. I don't want any of that going to a museum or to collectors. I want them to treat all the gold bullshit, trim, whatever, they put up in the Oval Office, the same way the director for The Man in the High Castle treated all of the Nazi paraphernalia they made for that movie, which is when they were done shooting, all those Nazi flags right into the fireplace, you know? No collector's items, no memorabilia, nothing. Melt it all down, make it into ingots, and throw it along with the billion others in Fort Knox. All portraits or mentions of Trump have to be defaced or erased. I think his portrait should be taken down from the wall of presidents, you know? He feels so comfortable defacing both the wall and the White House. I don't really see how any of his supporters could make a meaningful moral case. They need to get a presidential portrait of Trump, like, you know, shadowing his face or something. Just an empty portrait. An empty portrait would be great. Yeah. Need a goddamn cultural revolution to wipe his ass away. Him and Epstein being in the frame would be pretty funny, yeah. Leadership at CBS News reportedly instructed staffers to refer to the event's original name, not the Trump Kennedy Center Honors. That's fucking funny. Barry Weiss can't control her own outfit. I wonder if they kept anonymous, you know? I wonder if afterwards Barry Weiss was like, who said it? Who said it? You let me know. Another note to staffers reportedly followed that read, we should not be calling it the Trump Kennedy Center or the Trump Kennedy Center Honors unless quoting from those who don't realize an official name change only comes from Congress. I'm tired, guys. I made some big beans. Big beans. Something gigantes. Big beans, like a Greek recipe. I made the big beans, gigantes beans, whatever. That was fantastic. That's a lot of beans, you nasty ass bitch. It really was. Like one bean. I saw a video on how to make it, and the Greek guy who was giving me the recipe recommendation was like, every bean is like a chicken nugget. Look at these beans. Look at how big those are. Big old beans. How were they? They were great, honestly. I could have done a better job cooking them, though. But I think I did a good job, you know? I just want to improve on the recipe. I could do without the olives. Well, I just pulled up a photo of the gigantes beans. You know, I didn't employ olives in my dish. What were they called again? They're just called, like, gigantes. Gigante, like giant, gigantes. It's Greek. So imagine how a Greek person would say gigantic. Gigantes, like that. Gigantes beans. They were very good. Very, very tasty. Gigante is Spanish? Well, that's how the Greek people say it, so whatever. Yeah, they're like big lima beans, basically. They look like gnocchi. They kind of do. Beans are healthy and cheap. Unfortunately, the dried gigantes beans were $10 a pound. Not super common. I had to go to Pike Place and go to a specialty market to get them. But they were very tasty. Very, very tasty. Also, like 1 pound of them dry. They ended up absorbing so much water. They ended up being like 4 pounds by the time we actually ate them, you know? Yeah, Greek giant baked beans. Look at that. Phew. They're very tasty. Speaking of expensive, I bought jasmine rice yesterday. It was $6 for a 5-pound bag. Is that meant to be pricey? I always get Calrose rice. Is jasmine rice, is that meant to be expensive? Because like $6 for 5 pounds of food that's going to turn into 10 pounds of food when you make it is pretty great. It was $3 a month ago. That's fucked up. I'm sorry. Rice is just so naturally inexpensive that any price point feels like I could go and pay $5 for a 10-pound bag and be like, that's like free basically. Or I could go there and spend $10 for it and I'd be like, that's free. Because in either case, it's an obscene amount of food for very little money, you know? It's kind of like when was the last time you paid attention to the cost of salt? Like going and getting a bunch of, the yellow raincoat girl salt with the umbrella or whatever. It's like, oh, is it $2? Is it $3? I don't know. You buy one thing of that and then you have it for 4 years, you know? It's just, Morton's, thank you. Yeah, it's so inexpensive that it doesn't even remind Chad to not use unseasoned water when cooking rice. Yes, you should season your water. You use chicken stock, you know, you can put a little bit of lime in there and salt the water if you want to. Do something. Ooh, river. River sunbathing. The Onion supports you on the water agua issue. How different could purified and distilled water really be? Thinks humidifier owner about to enter world of shit. You know what would have been a great accompaniment to this that I didn't really think of at the time? The fact that tree does not have a technical definition. Like, there isn't a category of plant called tree that scientists use, but you could still accuse a person of lying or telling the truth when they use tree, you know? Palm trees are grass? That's fucked up. Like vegetable? Yeah. Turns out the world is actually really complicated. In philosophy, game is also really hard to define. I mean, if you get right down to it, literally everything is really hard to define. Including woman? No, that's not true. A woman is a person who squeaks when you grab their waist from behind, and a man is someone who gets, like, mad and defensive when you grab their waist from behind. The only yet found, like, a taxonomical classification that includes everything and has no overlap. More thrifting and fewer returns, the early trends that define shopping this holiday. More are hitting thrift stores or other discounters in place of malls, according to data from Placer.ai. Is that AP News? Is that where we're getting our data from? The firm tracks people's movements based on cell phone usage. Are we being for fucking real right now? According to Palantir, that steals cell phone location data to aggregate information on shopping trends. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, okay, I see. Is this like sponsored? Americans are still spending on gifts, yet according to data from Placer.ai. Placer.ai said, according to Placer.ai. Is this sponsored? Placer.ai reported, Placer.ai said, according to Placer.ai. This is sponsored, man. They wouldn't have to repeat it 50 million times otherwise. Compromised? Yeah, seriously. I don't even have to disclose it. They did defend Israel. Every Western news source that's allowed into the White House defended Israel, and still does. Now they just don't talk about it. Dude, I'm so fucking cold. We need to go back to the wearing gloves arc. That was great. I got a lot of shit for that. I got shit for that the same way Nick gets shit for being gay. You know? Like, that was a solid wave. That was a thing? Yeah, it's a thing if you take Adderall. Your hands get cold, your extremities get cold easier. My hands are cold as fuck right now. But you look like a psychopath if you're wearing gloves indoors. I guess I could just, like, turn the heater on. Get skin tone gloves, paint some nails on it. I thought Evangelion was all about how good LCL would taste. I feel like that shit would taste fucking nasty. Opening your mouth in the orange tang ocean and you're tasting like someone's asshole. I don't know, but not in a cool way. I don't think that's cool. Are the rebuilds actually more gay? The rebuilds are bad. I'm sorry. I have always been an ardent advocate of this position. The rebuilds are just bad. The first rebuild is good only because it's just a point-for-point remake, basically up until the end of the beginning of the show. but with better animation. The rebuilds are really bad. Also, in my opinion, they're kind of pedo-y, you know? Obviously, there's a lot of that going on with NGE anyway, for a variety of reasons, but I really do think that the main show and end of Evangelion are artistically defensible, very defensible, you know? I think that you can make a solid case for those being the kind of art you can, you know, you can stand by and defend. There is some stuff in the rebuilds that I genuinely think was just, they put it in there because they knew they had a bunch of fans who were super into Asuka and Rei, you know? They could have skipped that. They could have skipped the 40 seconds of Rei and Asuka in plug suits floating around in 0G with the camera climbing up their ass every time they move towards it. Also, the plot point of Shinji, there's been a time skip, but because she's the fourth child or whatever, or second child, I fucking forget whose child. There's been a 10-year time skip, Shinji, but Asuka looks just like she did when she was 14. She's 24, but she looks like a 14-year-old, but with an eye patch. That wasn't necessary. You didn't have to do that shit, man. You just didn't. There's no reason to do that besides appealing to the pedo. I'm sorry. It was because she's an Eva pilot, but that doesn't even make sense. Eva pilot's age. Shinji went from being 0 to being 14. Is it as soon as you step into an Evangelion, you stop aging? That doesn't make any sense. No, I agree with you. Don't slime me, please. Mods. Slime. Also, do you have an opinion on Mari? They only added Mari to have another girl. That's it. Dude, the rebuilds are bad. They're bad. They're just bad. They only added her to have a new girl. She doesn't add anything. Rei, Misato, and Asuka represent like a legitimate, I was going to say duality. They're not a triality, right? There's like an actual dynamic with narrative themes that you can run through with these three in their relationship to Shinji. What with Mary? What about with Mary? What is she doing? They just wanted a fucking brunette. Don't think it means anything about Anno, but the shadowy humanity controlling organization using Kabbalistic imagery is minorly sussy. I don't actually think it's bad because I think it reads so clearly as the Illuminati. Like, it doesn't really read as Jewish to me in any way. It just reads like I know there's a huge overlap in the conspiracy spaces between stuff that's said about the Illuminati and stuff that's JQ oriented, but there's nothing really, the show doesn't concern itself with the economics or the sociopolitics of what SEAL is capable of or what they do. They're just like nebulously in charge of everything through the UN, which to me leans more into like the Deus Ex brand of like generic conspiracy, you know what I mean? Because they also had that with Deus Ex, the UN, the Illuminati, and everything. I think I would agree with you in terms of the implications if there was a little bit more about like a broader group. But SEAL is only in it for SEAL, right? Like SEAL never says anything like we're here to elevate our people or our group in the Third Impact, you know? The Human Instrumentality Project is meant to elevate our people. They don't really say that. It's literally just those 12 guys who are getting yoinked up. But I agree. I mean, there's a lot of overlap, conspiracy slop, so on and so forth.